Hello everyone, it's Kathy Champion and welcome back to my stamping, my stamp room, my craft room, my stamping studio, my YouTube channel, Kathy's Random Acts of Stamping. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of my crafty family. If you are interested in seeing more of what I do, please hit that subscribe button and ring the bell and set the notifications for all. That way you will always be informed whenever I put up a new video. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I reside here in Gastonia, North Carolina, which is just outside of Charlotte. So I'm close to the big city, but I don't live in the big city, and I love it like that. But because internet and because we can service people all over the United States, if you live in Alaska, I can be your demonstrator. If you live in Hawaii, lucky you, I can be your demonstrator. Or if you live right here in North Carolina, I can be your demonstrator. No matter where you're at in the United States of America, I can service you via my internet, via my YouTube channel, and of course I'm always available through a phone call, an email, or a text message. So with all that being said, you're going to see right about here, my host code is going to pop up on the screen. That is an incentive. If you shop with me, spend $50 or more before shipping and tax, and you will get a free gift from me at the end of the month. Actually, the first of the following month. And the other thing that we have going on right now is I do a giveaway, and this is a drawing. Anyone that shops with me anytime during the month of May using my host code that you just saw, it will also be in the description below this video, you will be entered into a drawing, and this time I have a 6x6 paper pack and the Berry Blessings stamp set. This is a two-step stamp set. It is photopolymer. This is a brand new stamp set. I don't send used. If I ever do have something used that I'm going to tell you that I'm going to give away, I will let you know that it is gently used. With all that being said, order any size purchase and your name will go into the drawing for this. If you want to receive the free gift, the incentive is to spend $50 or more. Make sure that's before shipping and tax. It has to be $50 in retail product. Okay, I think we got all that housekeeping out of the way, and now look at this. I am so excited over this catalog. Y'all heard me ooh and ah over it. But I am going to do a little something different today. And of course, I'm going back to my Hand Penned Petals. I'll tell you what, let me show you where Hand Penned Petals is. That way you can see the stamp set for yourself. I find my index. And Hand Penned Petals is on page 105. And there it is. And it comes with designer series paper. This is the suite, and the suite gives you everything. It gives you the stamp set. It also gives you the designer series paper, the dies, and the gems. So you get the whole shooting match if you buy the suite. Now make sure you use the number that's beside the suite if that's what you are intending to do. But if you just want the stamp set and the dies, you bundle that and you save 10% by bundling, and that number is listed right here. But you might not need to have a die machine. You may just want the stamp set. So if you want just the stamp set, you'll use this number right here. Also, if you notice right up here, it will show you the colors that coordinate with that paper. Blushing Bride, Pale Papaya, Daffodil Delight, Garden Green, Mint Macaron, and Highland Heather. Beautiful, beautiful colors that you can use with this particular set. And you can also do your own thing, which is what I'm going to do today. Y'all know I love to do my own thing. So here's my stamp set. I'm also going to use the Painted Texture Embossing folder. Now, I've done a lot of this work ahead of time so that it would make the video go a little faster, but I am going to show you everything that I used. I also used, we're going to stamp and we're going to do a little coloring. So I'm going to do that first. I got this hand-penned designer series paper. This paper is gorgeous. Look at these colors. I mean, who would not fall in love with this paper? If you love florals and soft, delicate colors, this paper is going to be for you. So don't miss out. Get a pack of this paper, even if you don't like the, oh, look at that. Look at that yellow. It just screams sunshine and happiness. That's what I feel when I see this particular pack of paper. Yes, it makes me happy. I'm also using something else that I have not used before in my craft room, but I have used acetate. In Stampin' Up, they call them window sheets. So window sheets are nothing more or nothing less than acetate. And I'm not going to take the whole thing out. I'm going to take one piece out and show it to you. It's a piece of acetate. This is a nice quality, very clear. They package it wonderful with tissue paper in between so it doesn't get scratched or mauled or messed up. And it has a nice piece of cardboard in the packaging, which is wonderful. So I'm going to lay that out of the way, because what we want to do first is grab a piece of Whisper White, and I'm going to get the thick. This is our basic white. I think I said Whisper, and I am so sorry. How long will it take all of us demonstrators to stop calling this Whisper White? It is basic white. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in here, and I just need a piece that's going to be big enough to stamp my flowers on. So I'm going to say maybe 3 inches. So I'm just going to cut a 3-inch piece off of here. I'm stingy with my cardstock. And it's okay to be stingy with your cardstock. We pay good money for our craft supplies, and we want them to last and go as far as we possibly can get them. Now, a lot of people have said to me, Stampin' Up is too expensive. But I want to ask you, have you priced Stampin' Up, or is that your assumption? Stampin' Up products are really no more expensive than any other good quality product. So, I mean, an ink pad is $7.50. Most all ink pads you buy are going to run you $6 to $8. So, you know, that's, to me, that's not outrageous. So, if you have not looked at a Stampin' Up catalog, if you haven't weighed the value of a Stampin' Up product, you need to revisit that, because Stampin' Up gives you so much for your money. Now I'm going to pull out my Stampin' Pierce mat, because I am using a photopolymer stamp set, and I'm going to put this right here and stamp it down, and I'm just going to put a little pressure on it, not wiggling, just nice even pressure. And there we go. Beautiful image, first time, every time. I love that. So I am going to clean my stamp. And we're going to stamp a couple of the little baby breaths, and that's this little piece right here, because I want to show y'all how beautiful that is when it's cut. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised with this piece. It doesn't look like much when you stamp it, but you just wait until you see this. Isn't that cute? I'm going to do another one right here. And I'm going to do about 3 of these. I'm going to turn this one around and put it right there. Love that. Alrighty. And I did use my Momento Tuxedo Black. And why did I use that? That ink is safe to use with your alcohol markers, our Stampin' blends, and I'm going to be coloring this. But I want this to dry before I do any manipulating on it. I want this to dry. So I'm going to show you what else I used. And I have gone ahead and cut this ahead of time. See this cute little scalloped edge that comes with that? And I'm going to leave that on that mat so you can actually see it. This is a beautiful, and I'm going to zoom you in a little bit more so you can actually get a better view of what I'm doing. But this right here, oh my heavens, it makes the cutest little scalloped edge. And I chose this piece of Designer Series paper, and all I did was brought this to the edge, and I cut off just a tiny bit off of the edge of this. I actually went up. I went up to about there. And I ran that through my die machine, and then this is what I have. Now, I did use a piece of the thick basic white for my card base. This is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And this is going to fit on here about like this. I want this margin to mimic these margins, which is like a 1/8. So I'm going to move this over just a hair more. And that's going to go down on there just like that. And before we start gluing anything down, let's go ahead and do our coloring. So I'm going to move that out of my way. And I am going to grab a piece of, let's see. I'm going to grab a piece of this dirty, oh, I have really used this up. Look at this. That's okay. This is when I was working with my pansies. And, you know, it's okay. This is not going to come off. It's dry ink. And we are going to color these. So the colors that I have chosen for my, my flowers, you might not think to use these colors. I have my pale papaya, both the light and the dark. And I also have the dark polished pink. This is the dark one. I might grab the light as well. Yeah, let's grab the light polished pink. So those are my two colors that I'm going to use right now, and we're gonna color this flower in. I also have a light old olive, and I'm going to pull in a dark mint Macron. Let me see if that's the color I want. Yep. And you wouldn't think to pair these two colors together, but I'm going to show you just how pretty that can be used in the right combination. Now the first thing I'm going to do is go in with this dark, and I'm going to use my brush tip. This is the dark polished pink, and I'm going to go right into the middle of this big flower, and I'm just going to make some lines where those lines are at. They don't have to be perfect. You just want to get a little bit of color down in there. I'm going to do the same thing on this one. Just draw around it. And I'm just going to put a little bit of the pink in the middle of this one. Maybe a little bit right there. We're going to do those a different color. Okay. So now I'm going to lay that one down, and I'm going to come back with the lighter one. And all I want to do is, the first thing I want to do is make sure the alcohol is dried. You do not want to put another color on top of the first one until it's dry, and I'll tell you why. If you do that, you're going to have a muddled mess. So you just want to make sure this is good and dry, and it is. So now I'm just going to come in and I'm going to circle around there and a little bit through here. And maybe a little bit through this one. Just a little bit like that. Now I want that to dry. So while that's drying, I'm going to come in with my light old olive. And I'm going to draw a stem, that little leaf, and these out like that. Same thing here. I'm just using the lines that the artist put in the stamps. And that's what's so nice about stamping and coloring. You can look like a professional, especially with these Stampin' blends. They are the bomb. The best alcohol markers that I have ever used. So now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to use the pale papaya. And this is the light. And I'm going to use my brush tip. And then I'm just going to start out on the edges. And then I'm going to pull this in. And so you don't have to have the same color of ink to blend. You can actually step outside the box and do something a little bit different, and it's okay. So now I'm going to come back in with the dark. And I'm going to pull this out a little bit more to the center. And see how easy it is to use these markers and make that beautiful color in the center of your flower without even any really thought about it. You know, it's just, that's the beauty of alcohol markers. They are superb. I'm going to go back in now with the darker polished pink, and I want to do my center like that. And then I'm going to come back with the dark papaya, and I'm going to start pulling this color. Just pull it out to the edges. So pretty. I love that. Now I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to pull that color out to the edges. I love those. They are so pretty. They look gorgeous. Now I'm going to come back in with this pale polished pink, and I'm going to go around the edges of the leaves, like around the blooms, not the leaves. I'm just going to go around just ever so slightly. Like that. Maybe a little bit up in here. And then maybe right here. I wanted to do it with these colors because I wanted to show you that it's okay to bring in different colors, and you don't have to use just the light and the dark. Don't be afraid to play with color. That's what makes this so beautiful. And look at that. Aren't those pretty? And who would have thought soft succulent, or no, pale papaya, I'm sorry, pale papaya and polished pink would make such beautiful flowers, but the colors blend really well. So, you know, if you have Stampin' Blends, play with your different colors. Now I'm going to go in where we did these leaves. I'm going in with the dark mint macaron, and I'm using my brush tip, and I'm just going to pull that old olive out. And can you see how that's giving just a hint of that different shade of green right in the edge of that leaf? And that is the beauty of nature, because you know, nature is not just one color. You go out and you pick up a leaf and look at the different varieties of color that are in one leaf. So I was trying to capture that same thing with this. Isn't that pretty? So we're going to do the same thing here. Just pull that color, just like that. Now this is going to be the most time-consuming part of our video, because I really wanted to kind of teach you how you can do different things with your color. Now I am going to grab the light mint macaron because I want to put a little color on the baby's breath, but I want it to be very subtle. And all I'm going to do is just draw the lines where the lines are at. Very easy to do. And you're going to see when we cut these out, I'm even going to do the stem. When we cut these out, they're going to be gorgeous. Just draw your lines, and I've already cut those, so I'm not going to do that, but we are going to use this flower, I think. So the other color I have is another one of our new in colors, and this is called the, oh, I got the wrong one. Oh, I grabbed the wrong color. This one is the Fresh Freesia Light and Dark. So I'm going to go in with the dark first, and I'm going to use my bullet tip And I am going to just put some down, maybe a little around the edges, the little markings, and the same thing over here. We're going to do the middle, and then we're going to do the same thing with these. And now I'm going to come back with the light, and I'm going to use my brush tip for this. And I'm going to fan this just a little bit. I have my overhead fan on, but I don't know whether I'm I just want to make sure it's good and dry before I start moving color. Just color that in. And the same thing here. Just color it in. Drag some of that dark color into the light. Just like that. And now I'm going to go back one more time with this dark polished pink. And I am going to go right into the center of these flowers. And right there. I did cover that up just a hair. So I just wanted to have that little bit of extra added texture. Now I did one, so we're going to see which one we like the best. Let's go ahead and cut. That's the first one I did. So I'm thinking, I don't know, I like them both. What do y'all think? This one or this one? Let's go ahead and cut this one. So I'm going to use this die right here. And whenever you're using the Stampin' Up! Dies, what you want to do is keep wiggling it until you don't see white around the outside of your image. If you see some white outside your image, you don't have it lined up perfectly. So it can be sometimes a little tedious, but it's well worth it. So I'm going to put one of my little post-it flags on two sides of that. And I'm just going to come over here to my machine. And I'm going to run this through. And then we're going to take these off. And that pops out just like that. So let's look at those up close. I actually like the second one I did. So I think I'm going to go with that. And I'm going to show you my baby's breath that I cut because, well, I'll tell you what, let me show you one because I want you to see when you put your die over it and cut it out. I want you to see just how beautiful this is. It gives a nice laciness. So just make sure that you're lining your stem up because you really don't have too much more here to work with. But put that over and then we're going to run it through. So I got that done. Put my little plates back over here. And this is what I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you just how gorgeous this piece is when it's cut. Put my sticky tapes back over here. I get as many uses out of those as I can. Now, if you take your pick tool and just come up under here and poke these little lacy pieces out, you might even be able to do it from under and pull them forward. This will give you the look of real baby's breath, and it is so pretty. But see how it's got a little ruffleness to it right there. So those are so pretty, and I have 3 that I had already cut. So let's do this. Let's move the dies, and I'm gonna get that nasty piece of paper off of there. I guess I need to throw that one out and get another one. All right, so there's my pieces. Here's my card base. There's my designer series paper that I want to use on the front, just like that. And the other thing that I did on my window sheets, and I think you're going to love this, I took a piece that is, where's my ruler? Right here. this piece is 3 1/8 by 5 1/8. So I cut this down, and if you can, I don't know if you can see the texture. I ran it through an embossing folder, and I chose the, which one did I get? Oh, Painted Textures. This is the Painted Texture embossing folder. And I want you to be able to see that beautiful texture in there. So I ran it through because what I wanted some texture on top of this, but I did not want to cover up the beauty of my paper. And I want this card to look like it's glass. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna put this down. I know that my flowers are gonna go in the middle, so I'm gonna use some glue dots, and I am gonna put them across the middle where I know my flower is gonna be. Gotta get used to these glue dots, the new way. Or I don't know if any of y'all are having the problem that I am with these, but I have not gotten used to them yet. Okay, I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool for this, and I'm just going to take a glue dot up like that, and then right in the middle I'm going to put it maybe right there. And then I'm going to do another one right about here. And then one more kind of over here. Okay. And then what I want to do is I want to hold this piece of Designer Series paper and get my acetate lined up. See if I can line it up this way better. So I want the same margin at the top and bottom. That looks good. And I'm just going to press that down. So now you can see we have this glossy piece that's going to go on our card base. So I'm going to use some tape runner for this. Not tape runner. I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal Plus, and I'm going to bring this over, and I am going to go ahead and run a piece down there, a piece there, and one right over here, as close to that scallop as I can get it. Now I want to be very careful when I put this down, because I want that little 1/8 of an inch all the way around, except over here. And that looks really pretty. So that worked really well. That was what I was looking for. So now I want to bring over my beautiful floral. I think I want it to go like that. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do. We're going to stick, I did cut one more piece of acetate. I want to show you this. This is cut with the die. You have the cut piece that cuts out the whole flower like this, but then you have this detailed piece that cuts out a very detailed, and I cut that out, and I'm sure you're not going to be able to really fully see it, but it's acetate. And what I want to do, and I didn't pick out all the pieces because all of these little petals are made to come out, but I wanted some of them to stay in just to give it a little bit more interest. And what I want to do is I want to put this over top of my flower image, just like that. And I'm going to use some glue dots, but I'm going to use glue dots like right here in the middle, because I'm going to come back and put gems over top of those. So I'm going to grab a glue dot right about there, and maybe we can do one right there, and maybe one You might be able to get one right here. Now that's going to give us enough of sticky to line this up onto our piece. Now you want to be careful and mindful. Once I get that right about there, I know I'm pretty good to go. I'm just going to press it down. So what I did is I lined up my two big leaves and my big flower. And once I knew that I had that, then see how it gives it such a pretty glossy finish without using any other type of product. It's all done with the beauty of acetate, and acetate can do so much for your crafting. So if you haven't picked up our window sheets, I'll have that listed here in the video, along with all the other products that I've used, and I think you're going to really love this. Okay, so I need to make sure that this is going to go right here. I want to keep a place down here for a sentiment. So I'm going to grab my Stampin' Dimensionals, and I am going to be pretty generous with these. I don't want this to come apart. And we are talking about it sticking to acetate, which is a slick surface. But I think these are going to hold it because we're putting a good amount of dimensionals on this. I think I'm going to put one more right there, and I think that will do it. Okay, so my trusty little take your pick tool. I wonder if I need one on that leaf. We'll see. And that one, and that one. And I think we got them all. So now I need to decide before I put this down exactly where I want this to sit. And I think I want it to go just like that. Now we've got our little baby's breath. And what I'm going to do to stick these on, I'm going to bring my silicone craft sheet over. And I'm going to turn these over, and I'm going to use some of the seal. And I'm just going to do a piece like that. And I'm going to roll it so that it's just underneath there. And we are going to stick these down just little places where we can get them. And I'm going to take my take your pick tool and just press to make sure that it is pressed in there. And then we're going to do the same thing. Now you could use liquid glue. The reason I'm not using liquid glue to put these on with is because liquid glue will slide on this acetate, and if it's seen, it will be a mess. So I thought this was just a better option of adhesive. And that's why we have different adhesives, because not every glue or every tape will work good for everything. So that's why we have a little bit of a variety. And you can see it's leaning over, it's hanging over on both sides, but I'm just going to fold that back and fold it back just like that. And then we're going to continue around. Just like that. And do I want to do a fourth one? I don't think so. Or maybe I do. Yeah, I want that one right there. I was kind of on the fence about it, but I think I'm going to put my sentiment up here at the top. So this will allot me the opportunity to put one right about there. Oh, isn't that gorgeous? Look at I mean, it's got all that shimmer on it, and we didn't do anything but run a little acetate on it. I love it. I think it's so pretty. Now I need to decide what I want to put up here. And remember this piece of cardstock that we had, that we were doing all this with? Let's cut us a piece. I need to decide what I want my card to say. And you know, I think I'm going to stick with, I think I'm going to stick with this stamp, and I'm going to put anything is possible. We could do thanks. I think I'm going to do anything is possible. That is speaking to me for some reason. So, anything is possible. So what I might do, I might go ahead and stamp this first and then decide how I want to cut that out. So let's do that. Let's just grab us a little stamp block. I love Stampin' Up because they have stamp blocks every size for every stamp imaginable. And if you've got a stamp that is small, you stand a better chance of not rocking it if you are using the correct size stamp block. So let's ink that up. Stamp it over here to see if I'm getting a good image. And I forgot my mat, so we're going to bring this back over. This will assure that we get a better stamped image. And anything is possible. There we go. And then on the inside, you could make this a note card and write whatever you like on the inside. So totally up to you. All right, so let's go here. And do I want to do this or do I want to cut a little, do I want to use a die? Stitch So Sweetly dies, because y'all all know this is like one of my favorite sets. I'm going to see if the smallest rectangle will fit. And it does. Love that. We're going to use that. And I am going to grab my little, and see it's just barely fitting in there. So I'm going to make sure that I tape this down like that, and we're going to run it through our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. If you are in the market for a Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, I highly recommend this one. It is the bomb. No more of those days of fighting with pushing something through your die machine. This is just, I simply love it. There we go. That turned out really cute. I like that. So I'm going to put my little pieces over here, and that is ready to go on our card. So let's bring our card back over, and we are going to put this right up here. Anything is possible. And I'm going to pop it up. So I'm going to use a couple of dimensionals, one on each end. Let's go ahead and do one in the middle, just to give it a good amount of stability. There we go. Oops. There we go. So now I want to put this down. Do I want it here? I think up here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to cut this down to 4. Oops, wrong blade. 4 by 5 1/4. And then we are going to bring our card right back over, and this is going to fit right inside. So again, I'm going to use some of my Stampin' Seal. And I'm going to do one right here. And one down the middle. I think that will be plenty, and this will coordinate so pretty with this. Just like that. And there is us a beautiful, you know, I didn't put ribbon on it. What am I thinking? We've got to do some ribbon. Some fresh Freesia. And how about some of the polished pink? Okay. So now that I'm in my ribbon, let's try this one. Okay, that one came off a little easier than the other one. So what I want to do is I just want to cut some little pieces about like so. So we're going to cut some pieces that are maybe 2.5 inches long. So maybe 5 inches total. Let's measure. So we don't need wide pieces. Long pieces. We just need I'd say 2.5. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this, and let me grab my ribbon scissors. And I am going to cut a couple of pieces like that. So once I cut it, then I just use that to cut the rest of it as a measurement. So 2 pieces that length. And then we're going to do 2 more pieces this color. And I'm going to show you how to tuck. This is sort of a tuck method. We're going to use some glue dots. And what I'm going to do is, you can see my glue dots are right here, so I'm going to lay this piece of ribbon into that glue dot and pull it off, and then I'm going to attach it kind of at an angle. You want to kind of turn it like so it makes a little loop, and then we're going to fold that, pinch it. And now we're going to stick this with another glue dot, maybe 2. So I'm going to take your pick tool right here. So I'm going to take one glue dot and put right there. And then I am going to tuck this underneath. And you might need to use your take your pick tool just to kind of get it down in there where you want it. So just push it in there, just like that, and it gives you like that little loop that just gives you a little bit more dimension on your piece. So I'm going to do another one here, and I'm going to bring this over. Isn't this ribbon gorgeous? This is the In Color ribbon. And I'm going to put another one right there. And then we're going to tuck this one right over here. That's good. Now we're going to do the other I I'm having a hard time remembering the names. Fresh Freesia. That totally left my brain there for about 2 seconds. I'm like, oh my goodness. All right. Then we're going to do the same thing with this one. We're going to bring it under, glue it. And then I'm going to come back in and grab another glue dot. And peel that off. And we're going to put this one maybe right about here. And then we're going to do one more and let it come off right there. I think this just gives us that added touch of beauty and elegance to this card. You know, you have to know when there's a happy medium between putting too much and not enough. And sometimes we struggle with that. I know I do. But I think this is going to be perfect. And I'm going to lift that up and see if I can get it maybe right about there. Yeah. Now, isn't that pretty? That's our finishing touch on our beautiful card. And like I said, we got a place in here to write a note, or we could stamp something else in here. But you know what? It's so pretty like it is. I don't think we need to mess with it. And if you wanted to, you very easily could. Even with this one right here, I could fussy cut one of these little flowers out and put that right there, and it would be gorgeous. We could stamp a little sentiment inside. But I think this turned out beautiful. I hope you enjoyed the technique behind this, and I hope that this would be something that you would want to try in your craft room. If you're interested in any of the supplies that was used in the making of this card, and no stamps were injured or abused, I would love to help you with your Stampin' needs. So if you see something that I make that you love and you have questions about it or any of the supplies, please reach out to me. I'll be more than glad to help you with that. So thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more of what I do. I would love to have you to be part of the Crafty family. And if you're looking for a demonstrator and you're not currently working with someone, I would be so happy to help you. So until we craft again, as I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven. He is truly worthy of all of our praise and honor. And until we craft again, may God bless and keep you. Bye-bye.